Really.
And yeah, let's just get started. Okay, so what is Pop Sugar Voices? I know that Mandy kind of went over a little bit about this at the last All Hands, but just to reiterate, this is a network of 500 plus freelance writers, experts, and contributors that create around 400 to 500 new pieces of content across the Pop Sugar network every month. The purpose of Voices is to support visits growth in a cost-efficient and scalable way, to promote diverse voices and perspectives across the sites, and to produce a high volume of real-time content to increase visibility and boost SEO, which we will get more into in a minute. This is a brief history of the Voices program. So it started in September of 2014, and it was launched as the Pop Sugar Contributor Network or program with a small pool of handpicked contributors. In June 2015, 2015 was really the year that the Voices program started to ramp up, and that was when it also got its new name as Pop Sugar Voices. And in its very first monthly traffic report, there were 37 contributor posts total for the month, and it brought in 2 million visits and 10 million page views, which is actually really good. So it started off already just doing awesome. In April 2016 was when Project Phantom launches. For those of you who don't know, this is when we had contributors start working in real time to flood the sites with content around major events like award shows, and to boost our SEO. Later, this was the initiative that was responsible for Voices having a record month in August of last year with 6.9 million visits. This was a lot to do with Game of Thrones content, which is another sort of component of the Project Phantom is award shows and big TV shows and that kind of thing. In October 2017, that was when the very small yet mighty Voices team expanded in a really big way, doubling from 4 editors to 8 editors as we just ramped up for the coming year. And that was when I joined the team. In November 2017 was the first phase of the Voices dashboard, which is what our contributors use to create their content. It's basically where everything lives as far as how we assign content, edit it, message with contributors, and it's amazing and really sets us apart from all of our competitors. This streamlines the process for contributors and for our own editors and helps us just quickly grow traffic. It takes everything off of email and just like all these other components that we were using and has it all in one place. In December, we beat our previous record and had our best month ever with 7.5 million visits and a 19% month-over-month growth. The team produced more than 400 posts. Also, fun fact, any minute now, we're going to beat that record for this month and have our best month ever again. So that's pretty exciting. So these are our 2018 Voices goals. It's basically to grow the program 3 times and become around 30% or account for around 30% of our total visits across the network. So we're aiming for 17 million monthly visits, 1,200 posts a month, more than, well, this is an estimate, but around 1,000 contributors and 85 million monthly page views. So what are we looking for as far as contributor content goes? To start, this is sort of who we're looking for. So these are actually all real photos of contributors from our network that they used in their stories. We're looking for positive, passionate, talented writers and experts who can diversify our content and broaden the scope of what our in-house expert editors already cover on the site. As a contributor, you will inspire women to lead their happiest, healthiest lives on a platform that promotes women's stories, voices, and diverse experiences. So this just helps, you know, we only have a limited number of people on our edit team, and they only have a limited, you know, amount of experiences to pull from, and they're just a very, you know, specific group of people. And so this way we're able to just expand what it means to be a voice on our site and just get a lot of diverse experiences and perspectives. So I'm going to run through some of our major buckets as far as our content goes. All of these stories are links if you click on them. So if you want to actually go through later and read the stories, you can just click through them. So the first big bucket is personal essays, which can mean a lot of different things. Here are a few examples from, our mom's site, as with a really like a post that just went crazy, that just is a personal experience from a mom about something that a stranger told her. Fitness stories, so weight loss or anything that's sort of inspiring in the fitness realm. Just beauty posts about unique experiences and perspectives, like living with birthmarks. And then of course we have a lot of relationship personal essays, so marriage content, dating advice, just from those unique stories that only specific people can tell. The next bucket is Project Phantom and fan theory. So this is kind of our entertainment bucket as far as some of the things that we see do really well. And so there's like Mindhunter. This story was just about like the history behind a show or a movie that does really well. The Game of Thrones, we did a ton of content and it performed really, really well during that whole show this last season. And then The Bachelor, this is another example of just some of our SEO content. So what we like to do with Project Phantom is we're really like answering questions that people have. So if you're watching a show and you're immediately like going to Google and wondering like, what's the real story behind this movie? Or, how old is the contestant on The Bachelor who doesn't list her age? We are able to reach out to our select contributors and have them like immediately write something up that night and have it go up so that the next morning when everyone's searching for that, we're already showing up for them to find. So then this is sort of from the experts, and experts can mean a few different things. So this is, 7 myths nutritionists wish you'd stop believing. So that is an actual, talking or having a nutritionist write something from their perspective to get that expert angle. But then it can be, this is like a thank you letter from a public school teacher. And so that's, a different way of thinking of experts. It's just someone, who's writing from their personal knowledge. And this book's post is from one of our contributors who's actually a best-selling author. And so again, it's like we can write book roundups, but here's an author who actually knows, the industry, and she will read all the books. And this is something that's like a time-consuming piece that we're able to sort of outsource, which is awesome. And the quality of it is obviously going to be really high. And then this is from a wedding makeup artist. So again, it's just answering those questions straight from the expert. Instead of us doing an interview, they're able to just write it for us. This next bucket is firsthand experiments. So these do really, really well across the network based on it could be all different themes. So here are a few about, not drinking and how that affected her skin. This one, we have a lot of fitness experiments. So, doing 100 push-ups every day for a week or whatever it is. And then just like writing about how their body changed, and giving up dessert. So, anything that you can think of that is just like trying something new out or pushing yourself. And especially with New Year's resolutions, I think these are a big one for us. This next one just focuses kind of on our, original photos and original reporting. And again, we are able through this program, we're able to have people who are really, really talented photographers include their own photos. And that's something, again, that's unique. We can write about, going on a trip, but we may not have actually been there or have the firsthand photos and experience. And so our travel content is really it's awesome and it looks so beautiful thanks to a lot of our contributors. And we're also able to have them do really intense original reporting and like dive into those meaty, newsy stories and interview people and just like, again, something that's a really big project, and we can have someone who's really skilled write that for us. And then also I threw in a DIY because that's, again, another thing that we're also looking for as far as someone who can take really pretty photos and put the DIY together, and then that takes something off of our plate. So this is just an overview as far as what we're looking for and what we tell potential contributors about the program. So it's our content, which again represents a diversity of viewpoints, sexual orientations, and religions. It's translated for the beginner, but is still interesting to the expert. We support body positivity and sex positivity, women's equality, women's right to choose, and feminism in and out of the workplace. We embrace women of all sizes and ages. We support women being their best selves. Our tone is friendly, upbeat, encouraging, optimistic, open-minded, and professional. We are friends giving advice and in the know, but we're not know-it-alls. Stories are written with a positive spin. We approach topics as fans, not critics. And just like about, as far as the content and tone goes, that's just really important to us as far as, you know, we know our group of editors all fit the bill as far as all of these things are considered. But when you're reaching out to just such a broad group of new people and new voices, we really want to make sure that we're keeping the standards really, really high for those writers, and that we're holding them to the same, the same standards as our own editors. And so we put this out there so that everyone that comes to us recognizes that like this is really, really what we're looking for as far as our tone and our voice. And then our purpose is to promote diverse voices and perspectives, not only through the people and stories we cover, but also through the voices that we are highlighting and seeking out. This is just a little bit more about our, voice and tone guidelines. These are, this is something that you can read through, but it's what we send out or that we make known to potential contributors to keep in mind when they're writing their stories or sending their pitches. And how can you get involved? So these are a couple of examples of stories that people from PopSugar who are not editors have written, including Josiah, who's sitting right here. So you don't have to be an editorial to write a story. Let's go on to this. This is sort of a little bit of like an FAQ about, I figure you guys will mostly have questions about this part of it. So I'll start with some of the questions that we anticipated, and then if you have any other follow-up questions about the program or about writing for us, you can ask away. So the first one is, what is the PopSugar voice? So like I kind of touched on earlier, it's friendly, upbeat, encouraging, optimistic, open-minded, and professional. And this, it's something that you kind of have to learn and work with. And I think this leads to the next question, but I would really, really recommend, if you do want to write for us, like reading through the content on the site, and which sounds kind of like a duh thing, but it's like one of the first things to do to kind of get a grasp of like what our tone is. And especially if you have something that you want to write about, like a specific topic, I would suggest reading through posts on that topic to sort of gauge, how we address that or how we've approached it in the past. So if you are not, what if you are not a great writer but really want to write an article? So again, I would say read the site. You can see that we have a variety of content across like a lot of different topics. So it doesn't have to be exactly cookie cutter, look exactly what we would write ourselves, which is the whole point of Voices, is to have things that we wouldn't necessarily write. And so, just to get a feel for the style and tone, because it's a hard thing to sort of understand unless you have really like dug into the sites. But then there's also other ways that you can contribute. Maybe you went on a trip and you took some really cool photos, and maybe we could use those in a story, or maybe you'd like to create a playlist and we can use the playlist in a story and give you credit, but then do the writing side of it. or maybe you're an expert and you'd like to, be interviewed about something. There's a lot of different ways to get involved. So the big thing is just reaching out and asking, and we can help sort of figure out the best route for you. So do we need a special app or access? So like I mentioned, we have this dashboard that's for our contributors, but if you're working here, we'd actually probably just have you use our own internal CMS that we use for editors. And again, if we're going down that route, our contributor team is happy to show you the ropes and how to do that. What is the process for submitting an article? So I would say the first step would be to send a pitch for a story idea to the contributor's alias, which is just right here, contributors@popsugar.com, and our team will give you feedback on the pitch, let you know if it's the right fit, or if maybe we already have the exact story up on the site. We would let you know that. And work with you on the angle if we thought that it had potential, but maybe wasn't exactly what we had in mind. I think I'm getting weird feedback. How long does it take to get an article published? So this totally depends. We are really quick, and if something, like I was talking about with Project Phantom, that type of content goes up night of within 30 minutes or whatever that the post gets done. But if it's someone that has never written for us, it could take longer. So the important thing is that we are really quick to respond, and we'll keep, if you submit something, we'll keep you updated on what the timing is and why something might be taking longer or something like that. Do we get paid for submitting a published article? So PopSugar employees do not get paid an additional fee for articles. And then the other thing to note is that you would need to work with your manager to carve out time as far as how that will work with your own schedule and your team. And then I think, well, does anyone have any questions before I go on to the next section about writing for us or anything that I've gone over so far? No?
Do we have a lot of male contributors?
So we do have some male contributors. So the most important thing is to recognize that our demographic is a majority female audience. So if you're writing for us, it's just keeping that in mind as far as your tone and how you're writing it. But we have men who submit articles as, like relationship advice from a male perspective, which is always interesting and welcome. And then we have stories, all the entertainment content as far as like fan theories and there's a wide range of things that anyone can write. So the main thing is just to keep in mind that our audience is, primarily women, and that's who we're writing for. Any other questions?
Another question.
Okay.
What is the difference between the original feature hub and then the voices hub on popsugar.com? Is there a difference between the two?
I don't know what they mean by original feature hub, like the tag.
Yeah,
like
so
the
there's
tag.
Like an actual popsugar.com/original feature.
Yeah, so original features are it's just a tag for our content. So it just means that content is really unique to PopSugar, and so we have a criteria for what constitutes an original feature, and this can be written by anyone. It can be written by a contributor or written by an editor. And so usually it involves things like original reporting. So there's maybe an interview involved, or there's original photography. So if someone wrote a fitness story and they talked to a few experts about a specific workout, then that would be tagged original feature, and then you'd be able to see it on that page. But we have tags for a million different things. So, but yeah, we actually, that's one of the things that we do look for from our Voices content is those original features, because they are one of those things that makes us stand out from our competitors and other sites. So. Oh, yeah.
In terms of the timing, how you said, like, it kind of just on the writer or the contributor's kind of timeline as well. Obviously, the editorial time to do editing. So is it kind of up to them, like whenever they're able to get to making the edits? I'm just trying to, wonder what people's busy schedules, like if it's something like, we're expecting them to have like a quick turnaround as well, or if it's kind of at their.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so the question was about timing as far as deadlines go and the turnaround time and all of that. So for our contributors, we give them deadlines. For like outside contributors, we give them deadlines, and we have some really specific rules about that. And a lot of it, that we have different types of content. So if it's something that we recognize is going to take a while, if it's something that's what we call evergreen, so maybe it's about, it could be posted at any time and it doesn't really matter when it's posted. Like, we have flexibility with that. And if they come to us before the deadline's up and say, I need an extension, like, we work with them on that. If it's something that has to do with like an award show or a TV show that was on last night, then we're going to have a really, really tight turnaround and we're going to make them stick to it. With people who are new to it, or, anyone here, we would work with you and kind of gauge like what a feasible timeline would be, and we'd have more flexibility as far as that goes. If it's something that doesn't necessarily, that's not tied to like Valentine's Day, where we'd be like, oh, we need that now. So yeah, it's totally depends. Anything else? Any other questions? If you have any at the end too, you can ask away. So here are just some topics that we love. This is really specific to, well, it's a mix of things we're always looking for, and then some things that we're specifically looking for right now that we know perform really well for us. So I would really recommend that if you are hoping to write something for us, that you take a look at this list and see if it fits under any of these topics, because that would make the chance of your story being on the site greater. And then also, if you know any people who are interested in these topics or writers that you think would be good for any of them, like, you can also pass those names along to us based on kind of these things that we're looking for. I can just, we're looking for recipes, personal essays, DIYs, millennial nostalgia, actionable life tips, parenting essays and hacks, firsthand fitness experiments, and relational stories, whether it's about a dating experience or your wedding or your marriage, your birth stories, beauty reviews, and just beauty tutorials. So these are kind of some of the buckets we're looking for. And then, that's basically it. This is just a little bit. So if you know any freelance writers or recent college grads, anyone in your life who's interested in writing or is a writer, you can send them our way. So there's the link there goes to sort of our Voices page that everyone can see, that just explains a lot, or some of what I've put in this presentation, and then some other specifics, and they can even submit a full story at that site. Or if you would like to just forward their name and information to our contributor's alias, then our team will take a look at it and connect with them about potentially writing for us. And if you have any questions at all, you can just email that alias and we'll jump in and help answer your questions.
I think Dana just put a question in. It popped up and then it went away.
I have a question in the meantime.
Yeah.
So Terry, you have been a content director of Pop Sugar Editors for many, many years. What's different about this content?
About this content?
Yeah, the Voices content.
I think it's really fun because I've been here for a very long time, and you all start to sort of, get used to each other's voices and the topics that we all love to write about and our strengths, and you just get used to a very specific thing, and then to be able to have people surprise you and read stories that you've never heard before that are really touching or funny or just from a totally different perspective. It's just really, it's fresh, and like it's nice to be sort of expanding what we're putting on the site, and then also just for on a personal level to be able to read these new stories from people that are like from all different walks of life. And so many of our contributors are just really, really awesome and supportive and appreciative of our program and of our team. And it's nice to hear from outsiders. Like, you know, we kind of all are like supporting each other because we work together, we know each other, but to have like strangers work with us and say, you guys do a really great job, we love working with you, we love your program, like that is, it's nice and it feels really good. So, yeah.
Dana's question is right behind you or right in the screen.
So what if we have a personal blog or vlog channel and want to contribute a story we've written for our blog? Will we have to rewrite the story just for Pop Sugar Voices? Great question. So one thing that I didn't actually touch on very much is we do syndicate some stories. And so if you have a story, you know, on a blog that you wanted to contribute as a potential syndication, you would send it to the same alias, and we would take a look at it and see if it seemed like the right fit. And then if we did, we would, I mean, we'd take it on a case-by-case basis, and we don't do a ton of this, so it would just so you guys know, like it's pretty rare that we do, just because we do want to focus on original exclusive content on Pop Sugar, but we would check it out. And if you were doing it, we would probably have you write it or, you know, build it and yeah, put it on the site. But we'd work with you on it. Is there anything else? Any other questions?
I think we're all excited to run back to our desk and start typing.
Do you guys know who the youngest, like, do you know the ages of some of the new contributors? Do you have any that are in that Gen Z set?
I'm not sure. Do you know, Megan, Kelsey?
I think our youngest we've ever had is 18, but that was like an influencer type of situation. I don't know, like our general kind of overall contributors, like what our youngest.
I will say that we are onboarding a ton of contributors. We just, Kelsey pulled the numbers, and from November 1st, so when we had our new team, till this week, we onboarded over 100 new contributors. And so thinking about it as like we had around 500, like 100's a lot in a very short amount of time. And every day we have new people reaching out or referrals from people here. And we're really, really excited to grow it. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Is she doing the, oh, is there another one?
Oh, if we turn this on, can we hear her?
It should be on the left.
Oh,
Oh, no, we can't hear her.
oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was talking and I just like no one can hear me. Just a quick note, I just want to say that one easy way to get in on Voices, if Tara mentioned it, is content is really fun. It's really like, you know, it's kind of an acquired taste to write, but you get free samples of stuff, you get free full-size products and stuff. If you like located in NY or major cities or Levinson knows a lot of people who give you like cool treatments that you want to try or new trendy stuff. Anything you have been like wanting to try, like products or otherwise, you get to do it for free. And for me, like that's payment in itself. And so like literally anything you want to do in the beauty universe, like they're a little short of writers right now, so we would love any of that content.
Cool. Yeah. I don't know how to turn this off. So what Maggie just brought up was like we said about experiments and beauty reviews was one of the topics that we talked about. If you have a product that you love and you'd like to write about it, that's something that takes some time, and we would want you to take photos of before and after, or how the product changed your life. And we have a ton of examples we could send you as far as like what that content looks like on the site, if you're interested in doing something like that. But beauty reviews are really great and fun. And so if that's just one area that we are looking for. So if you would like to do that, let us know.
How would someone like get the samples to try? Do they have to go out and find the supplier? Or?
No. I would say start by reaching out to us, and we would point you in the right direction. Anything else? Okay. Oh, yeah. 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 The questions about photographs and if we would help you with that side of it if you were to write something for us, and 100% yes. There's, certain types of, if you're doing a recipe, we would need you to take the photos of the recipe and provide it. But for a lot of our content from contributors and from even our own editors, we have different sites that we use as far as photos go. So we'd be happy to help you with that and show you, which stock sites we use or what type of photo would work best for the story, because that also depends on, what the topic is and what the style of photo would be. So that's something that we would definitely help with. You don't have to take your own photos to submit an article. Yeah. Any questions from the HIP chat? Yes. Yeah. We'll be sending out the deck to everyone. And like I said, you can click through the links of the stories to get some ideas of, what our contributor content looks like on the site. And there's all the information in there about how to write for us. So. And again, just reach out to us. We're all really quick to respond and happy to help answer any of your questions about the program.
Side note, people may be a sponsor in the first PS Voices campaign.
Awesome. That is exciting. Yeah, we're pretty excited about all that's to come in the new year, and with all of our new tools and our new people, it's gonna be a good year. Cool. Is that it?
Do the writers usually submit with photos, or do they usually just submit with just the text?
It just really depends. For like personal essays, if it's just about an experience, then we might just use a stock photo for that. But if it's a weight loss transformation, we're gonna need the photos. So it sort of it depends on what the pitch is. And yeah, travel stories, we usually want them to have their own photos. So, but yeah, it just sort of depends on what the type of content is. Anything else?
Deck is also on the calendar invite, so we'll send up a follow-up email with all the information, including the recorded version of this through YouTube Live.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Sarah.
Oh, good.
That's really good. I also got an
Yeah,
another
that's right.
question. We all have about whether or not we ever let stories write.
We do.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so I'll send out. I will also distribute the deck and the recording.
Oh, nice.
We'll get well